Welcome back to Pushing Pixels. I'm your host Sam Mestis. We're gonna do something fun today. I saw this little I don't know if I want to call it a logo or whatever you want to call it. Looks like a patch, like a park ranger would wear. Anyway, I saw it as an Illustrator project, and I thought, well, why not just do that in Photoshop as well? So we're gonna tackle this little thing, and all you need is your imagination. So, and a picture, but we'll get to that later. It's a really simple project. It is 8.5 by 11 by 100 resolution. So just make yourself a new project. Boing, new 8.5 by 11. I should turn my keys on so you guys can see what I'm typing. There we go. Close that. Is my zoom on? My zoom is not on. It is now. Let me see. Yeah, there it goes. All right, so 8.5 by 11. Let's make sure we pick inches and turn this off. That's annoying. 8.5 by 11 by 100. Create. And I have a new project here. I'm going to keep that one side by side so we can see it. And we're going to call that black. Do that. All right, new layer. We need a base, which is kind of this white thing you see right here. And before I do that, I'm going to drag out some markers. Command R gets me my rulers. And I'm going to drag this out to 4 1/4, and it snaps to that, and 5 1/2, because that's the exact center. And if you don't have your snap turned on, it is in view, snap, right there. Right there. Awesome. Great. Let's start. Reset our colors, D and X to get white as my foreground color. And I'm going to use the marquee tool right here, the elliptical marquee, round one. And I'm going to hold Shift and Alt down, and I'm going to click in the center, and I'm going to drag out till I get almost a 5-inch diameter circle. Get it close enough. This is 5 point. There it is, 5. Oh, I got it. Nailed it. There you go. And on a new layer, I'm going to fill that with white. In this case, white is my foreground color. So I'm going to just hit Alt Delete and fill with white, or if you need to use the fill dialog, it's right there under your edit menu, right there. All right, that works perfect. I'm going to deselect, Command D, and I need the bottom half of this thing right here with these rounded corners, and I'm going to use a shape for that. So I'm going to go down here to the shape tool and pick rounded rectangle. And if you can't see it, just hold it down, and there it is. And I'm actually just going to click anywhere in here. And I'm going to get this dialog box. Now, this lets me adjust all the corners individually and the size. I'm just going to leave the size default for now, and I am going to use 0 for the top left radius, 0 for the top right radius, and 50 for both the bottom radiuses, left and right, and click OK. And it's going to give me that. And that's perfect because I need to size it up so it fits this circle and it all lines up. So I'm going to free transform, Command T, free transform, and I'm going to move it up there and center it real quick. And then holding down my Alt and Shift, I'm just going to pull it out until I get close there. Let me see, and then I'll do my final line up there and there, just grabbing the handles. And I'm going to make it just a little bit shorter. It's a little bit too tall right now, and maybe not that much, maybe a little bit more. There we go. We'll go with that. So there's my shape. I'll turn the circle off so you can see it. So that's what my shape looks like, and then I have my circle still. So that's perfect. That's exactly kind of what I needed. And I'm going to merge those two layers. So I'm going to highlight both those layers over here, those layers, and I'm going to Command E, and that will merge those two layers into one layer. And there you go. Great. Now we need to get this sort of inset right there, that little bumper right there, this blue background. And to do that, we're going to Command click our layer here, Command click on the picture, and that'll get our selection. And I'm going to go to Select, Modify, Contract, and that is going to be 20. And it is going to contract in my selections at 20 full pixels. So when I hit OK, there it is. You can see it. And now on a new layer, we're going to fill that color. And I'm not going to use blue this time. I'm going to work in a bunch of completely different sets of colors. Let's say I do it in, I'm going to stay kind of right here in these sort of rusty colors right down here. So let's just fill the background with a solid, sort of a good, nice, bright color. Very top right there. Sort of an orange. All right, orange is now my foreground, and I am going to Alt-Delete again and fill that. And I will deselect. I do not need that anymore. So now we have this guy right here, our white background, and this guy on top of him. All right. Now, as far as the mountain range goes, I'm not going to go through all of the trouble of showing you how to do it. You should probably know this by now. There it is. But I found a picture of a sort of monument mountain range in Arizona, and quite honestly, here's what I did. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I took my pen tool, P, and I honestly just started clicking, and I wasn't being too accurate about it. I just went through and clicked all of these guys here, right, up the side, and I went all the way around to the other side, way down here, and I made sure I closed my path. When I was all done with that, no, I don't want to save that. I'll show you what I got. I'll show you what I got on this one. Actually, I'm going to steal it from this one. In the paths tool on this guy, there is my mountain range, and you can kind of see it, that blue line right there. So I just traced all the way around the mountains until I had a nice little mountain range and closed it, and that was saved in my paths. So now that it's saved in my paths on this one I originally did, I'm just going to steal it since I don't want to have to show you exactly everything I did, because that would just take up kind of way too much time. All right, so I did have it here and I did draw it. I'm going to steal it from this drawing and bring it over to this one. So if I go to my paths tool and hold down my shift key, I can just drag it to this document, and there it is. And now you can see there's my mountain range. And it's a closed path. And now that it's closed, we can do a lot of fun things with it. You can see it right there. First things first is let's fill it with a color. And I'm going to make sure I'm on a brand new layer. And go back to my paths, and I'm going to hold down my command key, or control if you're on a PC, and click the little picture there in the layers. Click that guy right there. Okay. Command click, and he's going to select my mountain range. And I'm going to fill that. I'm going to pick a color over here. And I'm going to fill that with a dark brown, very, very dark brown. And Alt-Delete, and that fills it up. Not too bad, right? Now I'm not going to worry about it's overhanging yet. I'm not even going to worry about that yet. We'll deal with that later. Back to layers now. Let's start putting in these suns and these sun rays, and it's really simple. So new layer in front of your on top of your orange thing, and below your landscape. Let's put a new layer in there, right? And we're going to use the circle marquee tool again, like we did before. And holding down Shift and Alt, we're going to click at the crosshair again, and we're going to go out this time to 4 inches. All right, 4. How about 4? Yeah, close enough. And we're going to fill that with white. I'm going to reset my colors with the D key and then X to get white as my foreground color. And I'm going to fill that with white, Alt-Delete. Nice, right? And I'm going to turn the opacity down to 20. So you can kind of barely see it. New layer on top of that one now. Marquee tool again from the center, holding down Shift and Alt again. Make it another circle. This time we're going to go to 3 inches-ish. Close enough. I'm going to set that. I'm going to fill that with white as well. Alt-Delete. And we're going to bump this down to, the last one was 20. We're going to make this one, we'll make this one 40. How about that? If I can get over there. Come on. There we go. 40. New layer. One more time with a marquee. 2 more times, actually. Marquee, circle marquee. Holding down Shift and Alt. I'm going to drag out another circle here. This one's going to be 2. I'm going to fill that with white. Change the opacity to 60. You got it. So now I got these sort of concentric circles coming in. One more layer. This one will actually be our sun. Click again, and this one's going to be 1 full inch-ish. Maybe a little bit bigger. And I'm actually going to fill that with white, and we're going to leave it. There you go. That's pretty good, right? All right, I'm going to take all my circle layers right here, 4 of them, and I'm going to group them, Command G, because I don't want to have all these layers out there, it's me dealing with them. And new group above the layer, above that group we just did, new layer above that. And this is going to be our 8 Suns brush. I think I gave it to you last week. And I'm looking for Sun 6. And with white as my foreground color, well, you can kind of see what's going to happen there, right? Except it's too big, so I'm going to scale this down quite a bit with my bracket keys. And say right, I'm going to click right there. There you go. And we won't worry about the rays. We're going to fix all that later. All right, not too bad. We're looking pretty good. A couple things left to do here. We need to finish off this landscaping like it is over here. I'm going to turn off the text, and I'm going to turn off that path. So we got a couple pieces of landscaping here. This guy right here and the one below it. Pretty simple stuff to fix too. So on top of our landscape layer, brand new layer, and we might make these, we might go from light to dark. Let's see what we do. I'm going to use my color picker here, and I'm just going to get this base color here as orange. And I'm actually going to choose a medium orange for the foreground, and maybe a little bit lighter for the background. No, they're pretty close. Maybe I got to go a little bit darker there on the foreground. Okay. All right, so medium dark, and then it goes to light. And I'm going to use my lasso polygonal lasso tool right there. And I am just going to click out here, and I'm just going to make a random secondary landscape. Okay. Doesn't matter what. I'm going to loop it all the way around my logo there. And make sure you close it just like that. And with my gradient tool, because the colors are all selected, I'm going to go from top to bottom. And I think that needs to be a lot darker. Let's go from that to that. That's better. Let's do that. All right, I'm going to turn the opacity down just a little so I can see it. One more layer on top of that. And we're going to do one more. And let's select some really dark colors. Almost a black for foreground. And my background color is going to be, I don't know, somewhere in there. And again, I'm going to use my lasso polygonal tool one more time. And I'm going to make one more landscape, right? There we go, on a new layer, gradient, top to bottom. There we go. Let me turn that middle back up again. And there you go, looking pretty nice. All we have to do is get this stuff to clip, and we are really close. So we're going to do a clipping mask to get all this landscaping to stay inside this orange area here. So I'm going to command click my orange layer here, that little orange half moon thing, whatever you want to call it. Command click, and I'm going to get a selection set. Then I'm going to go back up to any of the landscapes, doesn't matter which one. Make sure that layer is highlighted, and I'm going to click Add Layer Mask button down here, this squared circle. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to build a mask for me. And you can see it hid the landscaping. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and steal that mask. So if you hold down your Alt key, I can steal this mask now and put it on this layer, and click and drag it and put it on that layer. And that's how we get our landscaping to hide. I am not at all in love with how that landscaping came out. It's too dark. What if I go the complete opposite direction? Gradient tool. Let's see how that looks. That's not too bad. Let's go with that. Looks pretty good, actually. All right, so there's our landscape. Let me turn off those. Oh, I also need to steal that mask for these light rays because they're bleeding out. So let's hold on my Alt key and steal that mask again and drag it down one layer. There you go. I'm going to steal my text I did earlier. Boom. Not too bad there, right? You can put in whatever text you want. And that looks pretty good. Now, I did put this sort of background element on there. If you really want to do that, here's how I did it. New layer over your black deal. And reset colors, D. Make sure black is the background color. And your foreground color could be, I'm probably going to pick a color that's in here somewhere. That's, a version of it. and drag a circle gradient tool again, G, and from behind I'll just drag out a gradient. See how well I do. There you go. Not too bad. Okay. That looks pretty good. One of the last little things I did, which you can barely see, is I put an inner shadow on this blue area, which would be this orange area here. So I'm going to double click that layer, and I kept it kind of subtle. Inner glow, I think that's what I used. I used inner glow, not inner shadow. And I'm going to pick some brown color like we used before, maybe not so hard, maybe right there. And set it to multiply. And you can already see it coming through a little bit. I'll crank it up so you can see what it looks like. And my opacity's down pretty low. Maybe right there. I kind of kept it pretty quiet. You could see if I click it off what happens. I didn't want it to get too, that's a little bit much for my taste. All right, but anyway, because I kind of wanted this to be more vector looking than it really is, which kind of negates the point of me using gradients, but anyway, it'll all work out. And there you go. I also put a little drop shadow under there, but I made my own drop shadow. So I put a new layer right there, say above that new gradient I just made, below that. Okay. And I'm going to use the white as my selection set, so I'm going to command click my white layer there, right? And I'm going to fill it with black, and black's reset D. So I'll do Alt Delete. And now you can't see it because it's behind the white, right? So I'm just going to take that, I'm going to click on that new black layer, and with my move tool selected V, I'm just going to hit my arrow keys down and to the right until it appears, right? Just like that. Kind of gives it a little volume. And I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit. I don't want it to be too out there. It's kind of not supposed to even be there. But all right, so there you go. That's how you make this sort of patch. I'd call it a Ranger patch. And it's pretty simple. We're a few layers in. You can even start grouping some of these layers and make it look a little bit easier to handle. All right, everybody. That's all you get from me. Good luck, and practice, practice, practice. Have a good day.